Hey y'all, this podcast contains potentially disturbing content. Our show includes graphic references to topics such as sexual abuse, self-harm, violence, eating disorders, explicit language, and sexual acts. Listener discretion is advised. This show is for mature audiences only.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Queer LBC Podcast. I'm your host, Nino. My pronouns are he, him. Thank you for asking. I have with me here my fabulous cohorts.
Yo, it's me, Christoph, your city top liaison. My pronouns are he, him, and that motherfucker.
Dr. Mikey here, your local licensed and practicing therapist for entertainment purposes only. My pronouns are he, she, all of them. What's the thesis?
Well, we actually have a very special guest today.
Ooh, what lovely and interesting individual do we got talking with us today?
Well, Christoph, today our guest is Queer Singh, or TJ, a queer Punjab Sikh yogi and psychiatrist who is married to themselves and is out here healing queer ancestral trauma with psychedelics, ritual, and cultural reclamation. TJ pulls together Eastern spirituality, Western psychiatry, and a whole lot of queer energy to help break people's cycles and their families and reconnect with parts of themselves that they were never taught to celebrate. We're going to talk culture, gender, psychedelics, and why queerness is way older than colonization.
That sounds amazing. You know I love me some psychedelics and healing.
You sure do. She really does. And I'm excited to meet them. Well, all right, everyone. In the studio, I'd like to introduce you to Queer Singh, aka TJ. TJ, welcome to the studio.
Ooh, what's up?
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So, TJ, in your own words, who are you? What are you? Why are you?
Well, I'll start with the identities. I am a queer person of color, immigrant from India, from a Sikh background. That explains the Singh as the generic Sikh middle name. And my queer identity is important to me because the City of Angels is the first place where I felt accepted in my queer identity, especially when I was cast out of my own family of origin for coming out as queer after being married to a woman for 8.5 years and having 2 sons who are both adults now. And professionally, I'm a psychiatrist. I specialize in working with children and teens and their parents. And lately, I've been working with a lot of queer kids and their parents, and mainly helping the parents get on the same page about what the queer kid needs in terms of treatment.
Okay, very nice. Can you get into more about what is Sikh and like what kind of things define that?
Sikhism is a religion that started, I would say, about 500 or so years ago.
Okay.
In the state of Punjab in North India. There were 10 gurus. The first guru was born a Hindu, just like Jesus was born a Jew, and Buddha was born a Hindu. And Sikhism is more of a philosophy. There's not any of the traditional Indian myths or like the pantheon of gods. There are gurus, and a guru means a teacher.
Okay.
There were 10 gurus. And the last 2 died at the hands of the Muslim occupiers of India, the Mughal rulers.
So in general, what do they think about homosexuality or transness? Do they have anything about it?
So in the religion, not that I know of, and I didn't grow up in the Sikh religion as much because my grandfather had converted to a different offshoot of the Indian religions. I do identify as Sikh background because my mother's side is all Sikh, and some of those cousins are very dear to me, and those are the ones that will talk to me. So in Sikhism, as far as I know, there is nothing that is inherently homophobic. I believe the homophobia in India is actually a legacy of colonialism.
It always is.
Yep. And actually, when I did a year-long psychedelic therapy training program at Berkeley, we learned that everywhere in the world that there is rampant homophobia is a legacy of colonialism, including North Africa, actually most of Africa.
Right.
So, like, my patron deity and my spiritual belief system is in yoga. And my patron deity is not even a Sikh deity. There is a Hindu god that is sometimes shown as the Ardhanarishwar, which is a half woman god. That's what it literally means. Ardh is half, Nari is woman, Ishwar is God. Ardhanarishwar. And that is Shiva, whose penis is worshipped as a symbol of fertility all over India.
Okay.
He's often shown as a half woman god. So part of me wants to start a new religion for us genderqueer folk that deifies androgyny as being close to divinity.
That's really cool.
I love it. Because that's true in so many cultures.
Yes.
You have the Mushe in Oaxaca, right? We had the Hydras in Southeast Asia.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And androgynous people or genderqueer people or two-spirited people are often associated with healing and channeling the divine for the healing of the community.
Shamans, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how transgenderism is kind of seen, like two-spirit-ish?
That's how I see it.
Okay.
Actually, to refine it further, like, I don't consider myself trans. If you met me before I was in the double digits age-wise, I might have been called trans. I used to often dress up in girls' clothes. I used to dress up like Bollywood heroines and dance Bollywood songs on the radio.
Nice.
I would play with girls. And as I became a teenager, dressing up in feminine attire became a turn on. And I started loving my male body. And there's a part of me that still feels like I'm a feminine soul in a male body. So hence the identification with the Ardhanarishwar. I always tell people my gender is goddess with a penis.
I love it.
That's cool. Goddess with a penis.
How you knew at a very early age that you had this two-spirited or goddess with a penis energy.
Yes.
So I know, like, growing up with your family and everything, was it hard to navigate through that? Or
so not until I turned in the double digits. By the time I was 8 or 9, I could still dress up like a girl and put on lipstick and dance at family weddings with the women.
Oh, okay.
But once I got to 10, I went through puberty early. At 10, I had armpit hair. And I was told in no uncertain terms that I could no longer continue dressing up as a girl and dancing with the women.
Okay.
So that part of me got squashed. And it's actually very recent that I'm starting to own that part of myself.
Okay.
Because even in my gay relationships, my first long-term boyfriend, after I came out at the age of 34, so I started dating him when I was 36 and a half, he would point out some of my more feminine mannerisms and want to butch me up. Which was a reminder of my father trying to butch me up when I was young. And my father kept trying to get me to throw like a boy. I never learned how to throw like a boy. I learned how to fuck like a man. But
I know that's right. Come on, God is with us. Right. Okay.
Nice. I'm sorry. What did you just say 2 seconds before fucking like a man?
She got distracted.
Oh yeah, you were saying they were trying to butch you up all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So my first long-term boyfriend tried to butch me up, and it's interesting. I was in touch with him, and he now hasn't responded to getting together. After one day, we went out to brunch here in Long Beach, and I wore a long skirt down to my knees. If it was pleated plaid fabric, it could have passed as a kilt, but it was flowy, feminine fabric. And it was just too much for him.
And do you think it was just too much for? I don't.
And he just no communication left.
Right. He's just like, that's
so
crazy.
Wow.
Like, motherfucker, we was in a relationship for like years. So like, for me to just like wear a skirt and you like ghost me, that's like fucking. He's a weirdo. no offense, I don't know the man, but like, right.
Different
This-
people have different levels of tolerance.
That's true.
For that.
Mhm.
Where'd you guys go to brunch at?
The
That
breakfast
matters.
bar.
Breakfast bar? Okay, right. See, like, you know, because sometimes it matter, you know, like,
Right.
you know, I don't know.
Well,
but
the
like
breakfast
breakfast
bar-
bar in Long Beach, that's a queer-friendly environment. So like it
Mhm.
wasn't like,
Right.
you know, motherfuckers was staring or like like whispering
Well-
or some shit. Like, right.
No one gave a shit.
Exactly. Except him.
It's Long Beach. So that's what I deal with is that. And then I have another friend who lives 2 buildings over who expressly told me in so many words. He's like, you know, you're a handsome man, but those skirts that you wear is just like, I just think it's just too much or just weird. And I'm like, if you want to be friends with me, then you need to accept all of me.
That's so
Exactly.
lame.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, one day he and I went shopping in Orange County, and that's Orange County. I wasn't going to wear a skirt.
Certain or
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
I wore tight pants.
I mean, that's gonna get you killed as it is.
Well,
Fucking
you
the
know.
tight pants.
my tight pants showed off all my bulges in the front and the back. So, like, whatever. There's no doubt
Right.
that I'm a man. And so I adjust how I dress based on where I am.
Where you're going, right.
But I told him, I'm like, okay, so if I'm out in public with you and that's too much for you, like that's the reason I wore pants that day. But I have on my own gone to Orange County shopping for furniture and worn a skirt and gotten great service. It's like,
Really?
right.
do they
What part of
want to
Orange
sell their
County?
products or not? You know? So, and I'm like, when I went out with you, I wore pants. But if I'm just coming to your house for lunch and you're not okay with me wearing a skirt, well,
Yeah.
It seems like that's something that that person needs to work on.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
and I'm like, that's okay. You know, I mean, you either take me as I am or you don't.
That's true. And it's just like that goes to show that there's so much transphobia or just phobia within our own community when it comes to a person expressing their queerness, how they want to express their queerness.
Right.
And everybody don't have to be a butch queen or have to be gay the way that you are gay
Mhm.
just for you to be friends on that same level.
Yeah.
Like, I wish people would just get out that mindset. Like, everybody is not the same.
Mhm.
Even in our own close knit community, people are able to express themselves the way they want to, and you should allow them to do that.
Yeah.
You know, this self-hate on y'all is just like crazy.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But a man wearing a skirt carries connotations that a woman wearing pants doesn't nowadays. That used to,
Mhm.
you know, back
You're
in
right.
the
Back-
50s.
yeah.
When was it Katharine Hepburn that started wearing pants? She made them fashionable,
Uh-huh.
and it was very controversial.
Mhm.
And we've always had butch gays, femme gays, butch queens, you know, butch dykes, femme dykes,
Right.
you know, or
Mhm.
well, I guess they don't call them femme dykes, lipstick lesbians.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever the terms are that people are, you know, and I don't want to sound like I'm offending anyone, but dykes with bikes. And I have a good friend who proudly rides in dykes with bikes
Yeah.
at Long Beach Pride Parade. So there's all these terms that are thrown about, but I think for a man to want to appear feminine is considered less than
Mhm.
because I believe of the patriarchy and what the Abrahamic religions and colonialism and male aggression has
Mhm.
done to our society.
Yeah. I also think it speaks to the difference between like gay, I feel, versus queer. Because I think there is a difference. I think gay is still like people, how I kind of describe it is kind of like this idea of like people who are still tied to kind of colonial ideals and like the gender binary. And I feel people who identify as queer are more open, more free, more like not adhering to those strict structures.
Yeah, I mean, power and privilege rests with proximity to white, cisgendered, heteronormative, heterosexual men.
Mm-hmm.
So queerness, both like, so the gays who are white and passing as straight, as in heteronormative, they are closer to that privilege than the gays who are not heteronormative and not so close to masculinity.
I wanted to bring it back to, because you said you're from India.
From India, yes.
How long did you live over there?
Until I was 26.
Until you're 26.
Okay.
So how does queerness Because you said that, because I mean, yes, like the homophobia is brought over from colonialism. So, and you were technically allowed to dress up for a little while, it seems. So, are people really crazy homophobic there or not really? Or
So I moved from India in 1996, and the last time I visited India was 2003. That was before I came out.
okay.
And my entire time that I lived in India, it was a crime to be a homosexual, punishable by imprisonment.
Okay.
So I had a lot of internalized homophobia growing up, which is what led to the getting married. And like, I didn't want to be gay in a country where I could have been imprisoned for it.
Yeah.
She was also my exit out of the country. She was my green card to immigrate to the US. And God bless her, she and I would have been married 30 years this coming February.
Oh, okay.
She's my best friend. She and I work together.
Oh.
And she controls my schedule at the office. I'm taking her to Alaska to check off her bucket list viewing of the Aurora Borealis this year
nice.
of her 30th wedding anniversary.
That's
that is so fucking sweet.
We raised the kids together, even though we split up when I was 34. So we were both 34 at the time. So to answer your question, I don't know how homophobic India still is. I have a good friend who has had more recent contact with India, a white gay man, who has gone to India as part of a nonprofit to mentor young people who are underprivileged in their own communities within India to provide them with leadership training. So according to him, the wider society is still pretty homophobic. And think of it as the US pre-Stonewall. Or maybe right after Stonewall, where like it's not illegal anymore to be a homosexual. You can't be jailed for it anymore, and you can still be cast out from your family.
Okay.
You can be a social outcast. And there are people who are more accepting than others.
I guess I'm curious, you mentioned kind of like you want to start a new religion for queer people. So I guess what is like your spiritual practices that help you like embody and connect with this goddess with a penis?
So I mentioned the Hindu deity Shiva. That is often portrayed as the half-woman god. And so his consort, or his primary wife, if you will, is Shakti. And Shiva Shakti means energy in Hindi, and energy is formless, and energy is eternal. It's the energy of the universe that keeps all living things going. So Shiva and Shakti is the union of the masculine and the feminine. And Shiva embodies both of them. So that's part of my spiritual belief, is that if you look at it at the core, scientifically, we are energized matter. And the energy is Shakti. And so even though I was not raised Hindu, my spiritual beliefs are very firmly rooted in an embodied spirituality, because I believe I'm a spirit having a human experience. And as a human, I enjoy having spiritual experiences. So it's the both and.
Yeah.
And yoga, honestly, when I came out, or I didn't actually even come out. She pushed me out after she found out I was having an affair with a man.
Oh, okay, because I was about to say, who put you out?
My wife
the health goddess? I was like, oh, okay,
my
your wife did.
at the
Okay,
time pushed me out. She's like, "Get the fuck out of the house." I came out.
Did she not know beforehand? Oh, okay.
I wasn't out to myself.
Oh, okay, I
So-
see.
So that was really interesting. It was a dramatic change. Within one day, I was outed to like my entire extended family and our common friends, and kicked out of the house, and the locks were changed. So I exploded out / was thrust out of the closet. It was very, very nerve-wracking. I was clinically depressed, suicidal, lost like 26 pounds, and just from not eating due to stress. So yoga saved my life. Yoga plus therapy. I was seeing a therapist at the time, and a friend that I was roommates with after I got kicked out of my house encouraged me to get into yoga as a mindfulness practice. So white Jewish girl We lived together like Will and Grace for a while. And Will and Grace was still on TV, and Leah used to not watch TV. She owned a television from the 70s with one of those like
the turn knobs.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, maybe we should watch Will and Grace to see how we're supposed to behave and live together. And I'm like, I already did that. I watched it and lived with my kids.
What can you teach me about yoga? Because I don't know anything about yoga except for like the one time I tried to do it on the P90X.
Yeah.
What can you tell me?
So yoga, as is understood in common American parlance, means doing some movements and bending into pretzel-like shapes and getting sweaty.
Yeah.
And that in the yoga system is called a movement practice within the bigger yoga system.
Mm.
That isn't yoga. It's part of yoga, but isn't all yoga. Just like being fit involves sleeping well, eating mindfully, and movement. So the American common perception is that yoga is when you go to a class and do those movements.
Mhm.
That's the movement practice within yoga. Yoga is a Sanskrit word that means union.
Okay.
And in yoga, we align or unify our movements with breath and our mind with our bodies.
Okay.
So in yoga, the goal is never to look like someone on the cover of Yoga Journal. The true yoga is about certain movements paired with inhaling, certain moves pairs with exhaling when you do the movement practice.
Okay.
And that's scientifically based on when we extend, we usually inhale, and then when we fold over, we exhale.
Mhm.
And what it does for the body is I may feel a stretch. And it doesn't have to be painful because when I slow my breathing down, it tells my body's stress system, okay, we're okay. We don't have to get stressed out. It's just a stretch. It's just temporary. And so the way we take that into our day-to-day life is if someone, let's say, cuts me off in traffic, then instead of swearing at the person, I lengthen my breath and I'm like, okay, that person's in a really big hurry to go somewhere. And thank God I braked so I didn't crash into them.
I get you. I like that. I feel like I should get into that. I feel like that would benefit me in my life. Now I'm trying to be conscious already of how I'm breathing.
How you breathe in.
Yeah. So the slow breathing really helps. And, confession from me is like, I never enjoyed running until I got really good at my yoga practice because I would pant while running. So after yoga, I learned how to pace myself with running so I could keep my breath long and deep. And I was able to get the runner's high that I had only read about and not actually experienced.
Interesting. I always thought that was just like some made up bullshit that didn't exist. The runner's high.
The breath is really powerful, and breath work alone can be psychedelic.
Mhm.
My first psychedelic experiences actually involved a lot of breath work and also working with sexual energy, which is in the yoga system, nothing is sacred and nothing is profane, and everything is sacred and everything is profane. So there's a subset of yoga called tantra, or tantra, as Americans call it.
Drag us.
So in tantra, we learn to work with all kinds of energy in the body, including sexual energy, because it's very potent energy. Like you and I wouldn't be alive if our parents didn't have sex.
Right.
So it's sacred and it's profane at the same time. And when I came out, I had so much guilt and shame about being gay and having cheated on my wife at the time and had an emotional affair with a man and being kicked out of the home, the whole 9 yards. I used to go around thinking I had cocksucker tattooed on my
Oh my
forehead.
God.
And that shouldn't be a bad thing
Yeah.
because every man likes his cock sucked, whether he's gay or straight, it doesn't matter. Dogs suck their own dicks.
That's actually true.
So anyway, so yoga and tantra, not only did they help me connect with my body and my breath and stay calm in my day-to-day life, It also became fitness, and it became the way that I connected my spirituality with my sexuality, the divine with the profane, the soul with the sex.
Very cool. I like that.
Now, when you were able to do that, are you able to now continue to separate the two when you want to, let's say, like, connect in the way with sex, but know that it's not a soul connection, it's a more of a body connection per se?
So Tantra has ruined my ability to have random casual sex.
Okay.
I only have connected sex. And it doesn't mean the connection needs to go further than one time if there isn't enough compatibility for it to go further than one time. But I had this one guy that I casually dated briefly. He's like, wow, you're so aware of your body, and how many people go through their lives never even experiencing what you're capable of channeling energetically. It was interesting. No one's ever said that to me before or since. And like, that was his perspective, because I'm in my body and in my head. So I don't know
So like, you don't see or know how that person is perceiving it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I've gone to Tantra yoga or breathwork workshops, and they get to a point where they want people to just build energy in the body. Like, there are times when I build so much energy that I'll like jerk all over, just like, it looks like I'm having a seizure, but it's not. It's just energy release. So it's powerful stuff. The breath is the most powerful tool that we have, and it can help us regulate our nervous systems and our internal states incredibly powerfully.
Is there anything that is there something simple, like any simple breathing technique that people can do, a basic breathing procedure that could start off into like breath work? Like, what would be like a couple of suggestions on an easy breathing practice?
So the thing that I teach people the most is the slow, conscious, deep breathing continuously. And that is a good way to relieve stress. Most people walking around very, very stressed or get stressed, like someone cuts in front of you while driving, at the grocery store, just anywhere. So the way to do that is to breathe deep and allow your belly to expand with the in-breath, and then start the out-breath by squeezing the belly button towards the spine. So it's belly breathing all the way deep to the belly, and all the way deep, starting with the belly, and then the chest and the neck collapse. So it's controlling the inhale, slow inhale, even slower exhale. And that's the mantra I give to people to repeat. It's like slow in, even slower out. And if people just say that to themselves and they breathe in slow, breathe out even slower, they'll find their stress level goes down, their heart rate goes down. You can actually abort a panic attack by using this type of breathing.
Okay.
And if the words don't work for people, the other thing I invite people to do is count how long it takes to inhale, like 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is scientifically proven. It's been studied multiple ways that when your exhales are longer than your inhales, it increases what's called the vagal tone in the body, which is the tone in our body that relaxes us. It slows the heart rate down. When we slow our breathing down, the heart rate slows down and the stress settles down. Vagal tone is active when, for instance, we've had a big meal and it's a lazy, warm summer day and we're just going to hang out by the pool and do nothing and lounge. Like, that's the most vagal people are. So to get in that state, slow breath in, even slower out, using the belly.
I'm going to use that.
I'm be doing that.
Right.
I love it.
I actually have a friend who's a breathwork facilitator, and he works at my office because a lot of the times people don't, even if I give them the theory, they don't know how to use it accurately. And I'm like, I don't need an MD degree to teach you this, but I do need someone who's qualified, who's studied breathwork and been trained in the yoga pranayama techniques. Pranayama is a subset of yoga that works only with breath. So no movement beyond just breathing. Prana is the breath of life. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You had said something about being like a spirit inside of basically with doing a human experience. Can you elaborate? You're just a spirit in a human's body and you're just experiencing life.
So let me explain this in tech terms, because most people now in a techie world understand tech. So the soul I consider like the operating software of my brain. So let's take twins. I mentioned the breathwork facilitator at my office. He has an identical twin brother.
I do too.
And their personalities are very different.
Oh, oof.
And so the soul in me is the part in me that's alive and interfaces with the world and with my own body. And when I think of a soulful experience, for me, it's when I feel most connected with my body and with the world. So for instance, when I'm at the edge of the shore, where the water is warm, not Southern California cold water, I love having the waves lap at my feet and feel the sand under my toes and the sun on my skin.
It's like spiritual experience.
It's feeling connected with the earth, and I feel like I feel part of the earth and separate from the earth at the same time, and be able to so appreciate being human. Because it's only by being human that I can transport myself to a place with warmer waters than Southern California,
Nice. I like that. Do you want to get into your work with ketamine?
Oh, yeah. So ketamine is a really powerful antidepressant. And in fact, it is so powerful that if someone's feeling suicidal, they can often be kept safe outside of a hospital with just one ketamine treatment.
Nice. That's like carries them through the week or?
So the effects tend to wane in a couple of days. And that's why when someone's severely depressed, they usually come in for ketamine sessions twice a week to avoid that worst thing in between.
Okay.
And do a minimum of 6 sessions. And sometimes people do more. Antidepressant effect of ketamine has been studied for well over 25 years now. It is FDA approved for treatment of depression. Of course, it can be abused like a lot of substances. And Matthew Perry's death really put a lot of people on the alert about what are the dangers of unsupervised ketamine use. So in my office, I never send people home with a ketamine prescription. Their medication's delivered at the office or they get an injection at the office. Because I don't want to risk, even before Matthew Perry's death, that was a protocol. Because I've been doing this since 2003. So early 2003. So it's been 3 years that I've been doing it. Actually, the inhaled FDA-approved version of ketamine I've been prescribing for patients since summer of 2020.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
It's an inhaled version?
There's an inhaled version that's approved by the FDA. And this is going to sound a little controversial, and I will say it anyway, is that I believe that was done in order to make the drug company richer because the medicine cost is almost $1,000 per treatment.
Damn.
Whereas the generic version costs like somewhere between $5 and $20 per treatment.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating.
Might as well just go on the street.
Well, and that's what people do when they're desperate to get better.
Yeah.
And of course, just like painkillers have an actual clinical application and there have been deaths associated with painkillers.
Yeah.
But we haven't stopped prescribing painkillers. So ketamine is a very effective antidepressant. It is also a very effective tool to explore consciousness. So that's the other place where we use it at my office for psychedelic therapy is the dose is generally higher. The trip is monitored. Hiram, my friend who's a breathwork coach, stays with them the entire time because they don't need to be therapized while they're under the influence of the medicine. And they do need psychological and medical physical safety. So he's there to monitor them if anything comes up. And then at the end, when the trip is over, I come in and that's when I do therapy.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's called ketamine-assisted psychotherapy rather than just getting ketamine injected in the vein or in the muscle. And the reason being is that psychedelics have a way of helping us shift our perspective in a way that's very rapid and very profound as compared to conventional therapy alone. Psychedelics have been shown to disrupt the brain's default mode network, which is our usual way of perceiving ourselves in the world. And disrupting that can lead to new insights for people who feel stuck in therapy and are finding it hard to make that shift to have lasting change.
Is that the ego dissolution?
Yes.
Interesting.
How long do a trip usually last before you're able to come in and start the official therapy session?
So I bookend the session. When people come in, I usually check in with, get their blood pressure and everything, heart rate, safety parameters medically. And we set an intention for the session. Like, what is it that you want to invite into your mind, into your psyche, into your body? And the intention is always what they want rather than the absence of what they don't want. So instead of saying, I want to feel less depressed, I always invite them to say, so what would be the opposite of that? When was the last time you felt the opposite of that? So when someone says, I want to invite more joy, the jumping off point is really important. And in the psychedelic worlds, that's called mindset or the set. And the other place is the setting, the place in which you do them. So we provide a safe, medically monitored setting, and their mindset is important. That's what I help them set at the start of the session before they even take the medicine, to have that intention of going into it. Because psychedelics are non-specific amplifiers. And if I say, I don't want to live in fear, I may encounter all my fears and be in my worst nightmare during the trip.
Right.
As opposed to, I want to step into my life with courage, and I want to invite more courage into myself. So that's the setting part in the mindset in the beginning. So then after they take medicine, I leave the room. We use music for supporting the psychedelic journey. And that's important because having the ego dissolution often leads to people feeling dissociated from their bodies to where they can feel their thoughts and can't feel their bodies. So it's almost like becoming pure consciousness and getting in touch with that soul that you were talking about. When we don't feel the limits of our bodies, we can see our souls are limitless.
So like people who like don't talk usually will just spill it all out, or?
Some people talk a lot during their journeys, and we take notes. We don't interact with them during the journey. Even if I'm in the room, I don't interact with them. And we tell them, we're not going to be interacting beyond keeping you physically safe. We'll take down everything. Other people will stay quiet throughout the journey. And the music we use does not have lyrics. It's ambient music designed specifically for psychedelic sessions. There's a way to curate music based on how they're breathing and where they are energetically. So we can live sort of curate, DJ their soul, so to speak.
Nice.
and the music is important because it's an anchor point. If I'm feeling disconnected from my body, I might be afraid I'm dying. And the music is a reminder, well, I can still hear music.
Right,
so I'm still human. And I'm still here. So it provides an anchor point. And that journey, so this is the long answer to your short question, the journey lasts about 1.5 to 2 hours. And then at the end of that, I come in and do the therapy.
Wow.
Dang, that's crazy. That sounds cool.
It's a process.
It's a process. The whole thing is about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending upon how long their journey lasts.
Wow. What does integration look like?
So the first part of integration is that the therapy right after, and integration is to help them integrate into their waking consciousness what they experienced during the trip. Often when people go home, they have other thoughts that emerge. So I encourage them to write them down or paint or draw and pay attention to their dreams and write down what dreams came up. And then, so there's long-term integration that happens when they see either me or their primary therapist, because not everyone that does ketamine sessions in my office is my primary therapy patient.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're referred by other therapists when they're stuck in therapy and not making enough progress. So the long-term integration happens in therapy without the ketamine of like what the messages are that they then want to integrate into their day-to-day life.
I'm over here just thinking like I need to
get
look.
some
I need
of
to. I need to look into this.
How accessible is ketamine therapy?
So my goal is to see what I can do to make it more accessible because of the number of hours and sessions it takes. And I mean, I do this for a living, and I'm not a venture capitalist, and I don't have a nonprofit funding me. But one of the ways that I've made it accessible is when I've done group journeys. If someone cannot afford the full fee, then other people who can afford the full fee can offset the cost of the person that cannot.
I've heard of that.
You know, and the interesting thing is that I think ketamine and all psychedelics are best done in a group setting. I think there's benefit and power in learning from other people's experience. You know, as Eleanor Roosevelt famously said, learn from other people's experiences because you'll never live long enough to make all the mistakes yourself. And so I think there's benefit in group learning. Some of my patients, I think our mental health model is so one-on-one. Me and my therapist have a private, confidential conversation behind closed doors, and no one, not my dog, not my cat, certainly not my parents or my spouse will ever know. That it can be tricky for people to know how much is too much to share, how much is okay to share in a group setting. So when we've done groups at the office, I've either done groups with therapists, or I've done groups where people have a chance to come together, share what they want to share, have breath work, then go home, then come back another day for the ketamine session so that no one feels freaked out about being with strangers whom they don't know whether they can trust. And you know, so there is a way to make it feel emotionally safer in a group setting.
That makes sense.
One thing that I was going to ask is that how many individuals practice or do this type of ketamine therapy that you know of? Are you one of the special few in South Bay, South SoCal and whatnot?
I am one of the few in SoCal, and I am one of the very few in the South Bay. I believe I'm the only psychiatrist in the South Bay of Southern California that's providing ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. There are several doctors that are providing intravenous ketamine or the FDA-approved inhaled ketamine. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't know that they pair it with psychotherapy and do it at a psychedelic experience the way we do it at my office.
Oh, okay. One of a
rare
kind.
jam.
Right, okay.
Well, I'm from India. It's a country with 1.4 billion people. So as Zarna Garg, one of my favorite comedians, said, I'm 1 in a billion.
Does that
1 in a billion. Dang, that's super rare. Nice. Very cool. Dang, I need to go get myself on this goddamn ketamine diet or whatever it is.
That's my diet. Okay, calm down.
Well, part of my goal is to see if I can partner with some of the nonprofits, because I know someone that's on the board for the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, and he's a psychiatrist who I know through my training at UCLA. So I want to see if I can make it available in a group setting for queer community, and I'm happy to volunteer my time because, you know, my kids are both adults now. My older son is 28, and so he's actually turning 29 this year.
Damn.
So I'm at a stage of my career where I'm like, yes, I'm not financially stable enough to retire, and I'm financially stable enough to like take some time out from making money and volunteer that for the community.
Right, that's good.
Doing the most good.
I love that. Yeah.
Because you're still fairly somewhat new to Long Beach, right?
Yes.
So how has Long Beach embraced you on your journey in regards of like coming to Long Beach and like being able to see how the gayest city in
Allegedly.
Allegedly the best gayest city in California on the what was it, the West Coast or whatever the hell. How has Long Beach embraced you? What is Long Beach to you, and like anything that
Why do you
we can
hate Long
improve on?
Well, I think it's been easier for me to find people to hook up with for sex. Interested in that. That's been easier than finding someone to share a cup of coffee or tea with. And I have found social networks and community mainly through a friend of mine who introduced me to the Long Beach Boys Club. I think they were boys. They were calling themselves boys in the 70s and 80s, and they weren't boys then. And everyone is in the 70s and 80s years of age now. So I bring the average age down a lot. So they're always happy to see me.
Oh, okay.
At 55, I can be the young ingenue belle of the ball. So they meet for supper once a month. And it's interesting. This is rooted in homophobia too, because I believe supper clubs in the gay community started in, I think it might have been New York. It was some city, some big city, where gay men were refused seating at the restaurant. And they decided they were just going to form their own supper club and have private dinner parties. And so that's how it started, not in LA, in some other city. And so these guys invited me to join them. It's usually one Wednesday a month. I go to dinner. And this year, for the first time in my entire life, I went to a gay Christmas Eve party through the Long Beach Boys Supper Club.
Oh, nice.
And that was interesting. There were about 100 people in this house.
Damn, this is a big house.
Wow.
And the house was decked out for the holidays. It was called a Bear Grotto. That's
Oh, okay.
I would say it's not an orgy.
No? Social party. I'm not into orgies. Like, I have no judgments about them. It's just not, as I mentioned before, I like connected sex and I don't like random sex. And so connection is prioritized, especially at my age. And so this was a social party. And so the reason it's my first one is because the way that the custody of the kids was divided up after I split up was, we would alternate Thanksgiving, their mom and I. And if one person had them for Thanksgiving dinner, the other one could do lunch with them. But the other one would take them the whole weekend. And for Christmas, the boys would be with me for Christmas Eve. And then after brunch, they would go with their mom and then go open presents at her place. That's in the beginning, before she and I became friends. And now we just do everything together.
Oh, okay.
So this year, she happened to be working on Christmas Eve. And my son was like, well, mom's working on Christmas Eve, but she's off the day after Christmas. How about we do Christmas dinner on Christmas Day rather than Christmas Eve? And I was like, yep. So I went to the queer party. It was so much fun. They had prizes for costumes. I didn't win it, but that doesn't matter. The going in the costume is what mattered. So the costumes were, you could choose red and leather.
Okay.
Or you could choose blue. Or you could choose white for snow.
So red and leather is a combo, and then
all blue
or all white.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it looked like a snowflake, or I think the white, I don't know, probably like police. I don't know where the white came, or maybe it was red, white, and blue because of the American flag. I didn't question it.
American Christmas? Damn.
Or it could have been the French flag, Liberty, fraternity, and what's the third one? Equality.
Oh, is that what it is?
Liberty, fraternity, equality. Yep.
Don't know much about the French
So
flag.
which one did you choose?
Red
and leather. Nice.
Yes. I'll send some pictures.
I know. I'll see.
I've never even heard of it. I've heard the word supper club, but I didn't know any of that history.
I didn't either until I moved to Long Beach.
I feel like we need to start our own fucking supper club.
The supper club. Do it.
Shit.
I'm happy to start it, host it. I have a great building for hosting stuff.
So how does that work? Is it like a potluck, or does the person who hosts it? Okay.
So it's a very egalitarian potluck. So when you sign up, when you sign up, it'll say, if your last name begins with this letter to this letter, bring an appetizer. If it begins with this letter to this letter, bring a main dish. If it begins with this letter to this letter, bring
A
side
dessert
dish.
or
A side
something.
dish.
Oh, okay.
The dessert is the only thing the host provides.
Mm.
And everyone bring their own beverages. So you bring a beverage and either an appetizer or a side. So a side could be mac and cheese or
Okay.
roasted vegetables. Appetizers like chips and dip or crudata or, salad.
Okay. And it was 100 people, so y'all had a nice little feast.
Oh, yes. So they invited people from a lot of their social networks. So it was
Okay.
people from the supper club. It was people from the hiking club. I'm loosely part of the Great Outdoors Hiking Club, which is a gay
Mhm.
hiking club. There's also the Long Beach Front Runners, which I don't
Oh,
enjoy
okay.
running enough to join them, but I have a lot of friends that are in
Yeah.
them. So, and then Avatar, which is, again, a mispronunciation of the Sanskrit term avatar, but
Oh, okay.
everyone calls it Avatar. It's kink-focused organization that's focused on teaching people consensual, safe kink practices.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't formally joined the organization, but I've known about them for years, and I have a lot of friends in the organization. So it was a potpourri of people.
Nice.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Is it true that queer people experience or respond to psychedelics differently than straight people? I don't know. I have heard that, or we're just gay and we give gay reactions.
Well, there's this. I don't quite know how to answer that because the best answers come from lived experience, and I live in a queer body, and I have a queer mindset. I will tell you this, that being queer involves being open to alternative, edgy, or unconventional ideas to begin with. So queerdom and psychedelics go hand in hand because psychedelics are this mind-opening and looking at yourself and the world in a different way. And we're already used to that. And as queer people, most queer people I know, even nowadays, are used to what I call code switching. There are certain areas, certain times of day, certain social situations where it's not safe to be outwardly seen as queer. So we learn how to tone it down and how to express it and like play with it. And with psychedelics, you learn how to play with consciousness in the same way. So I think queers take to psychedelics pretty easy. Some of the queer people that I've treated that came in for treatment of depression actually ended up coming out to themselves about, I'm really queer or I'm genderqueer. And so it's not the psychedelics that gave them their queerness, it gave them the courage to own it.
To understand.
Because they could look at queerdom as a badge of honor instead of something to be ashamed of and hide, and at least come out to themselves and their therapist, me, and eventually to their families. So that's happened. I call ketamine the truth serum sometimes. It shows you truths about yourself, whether you want to see them or not.
Yes.
That's true. So this is going to be a very odd question. So with ketamine is a very, I say, recreational drug that is used in the gay community that I heard from friends. But so, because I know, like, are they like self-medicating to find themselves when they partake in that drug?
So low dose ketamine, which is not what we do at the office, because at the office we use psychedelic ketamine dosage.
Oh, it's like two different kinds?
The higher the dose, the different the effects.
Oh.
So the first use of ketamine in the 1960s, where it was developed, was as an anesthetic. So if you take enough, you can become unconscious.
Okay.
And because of that, it has been abused as a date rape drug.
Oh.
Because if you put it in someone's drink and they're dissociated from their bodies, you can have your way with them. So that's the dark history of ketamine. In terms of safety, anesthetic doses of ketamine are usually in the range of 2 to 4 milligram per kilogram of body weight. Psychedelic doses are usually in the range of 1 to 1.5 milligram per kilogram of body weight. So they're a fraction of the dose that is safe, even for infants, kids 1 year and younger. Ketamine is that safe that it's one of the safest anesthetics we know from a medical safety perspective. Now, at a low dose, ketamine feels like being intoxicated, a little drunk, a little high.
Yeah.
But if you go too high, what I've honestly heard from people who have used it recreationally is that the high is kind of meh.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've heard from people that have used it recreationally that I know
Cause
socially.
I heard like they go into a K-hole or something like that. Like I guess there's like a deep like
The deep relaxation. So the
Yeah.
K-hole is interesting. I was talking about playlists earlier. One of my playlists is called Holy K-hole. Because it's a spiritual experience.
Oh, okay.
And we are inducing them to go into the K-hole. So the K-hole, there's history behind the K-hole.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you that. During the Vietnam War, ketamine was used as an anesthetic and pain reliever when they would run out of morphine on the battlefield. And the medics are always in a dugout, in a hole in the ground. So when someone was going to the K-hole, it's because that soldier was wounded in battle and they were going to get attention in the form of pain relief and anesthesia from the ketamine. So being in the K-hole was a good thing. And it was a literal hole in the ground where you got ketamine.
Well, ain't that some shit? Learn something new every day.
Right?
That's the history of the K-hole. The way K-hole is used in common parlance nowadays is when someone gets so much ketamine that they lose connection with their body. Now, queerdom is associated with sex and dancing. Neither one of those activities is particularly enjoyable if you're disconnected from your body. So I think people that abuse ketamine, at least from what I know, use low doses just enough to socially disinhibit them a bit, just like a stiff drink would, and be somewhat disconnected from their bodies so they're not self-conscious about how they're dancing in front of other people. So that's what a very low dose does. And therapeutically, low dose ketamine can be used in couples therapy, just the way MDMA is used. So MDMA is a research medication that was projected to be approved by the FDA for clinical use in August 2024. It has not yet happened because the FDA wanted more research. And low-dose ketamine has almost the same effect as MDMA when it's done in a couples therapy session, because it lowers people's psychological defenses and some inhibitions. So if they're afraid to say truths that the other person needs to hear, it all comes out. So ketamine has very different effects based on the dose that people take. And club ketamine, or special K as it's called, is a dirty drug that's often contaminated with other things, or it is diverted from veterinary use, hence the term horse tranquilizer. You can tranquilize a horse with ketamine, and you can anesthetize a tiny baby less than a year old, because we're all mammals and we respond predictably similarly to some of these medications.
It's about the dosage itself.
Yes.
So enlightening.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know any of that. That's cool.
Is ketamine like man-made or is it plant-based?
So it was synthesized in a lab. And there are research papers, which I can send you the reference if you want. There's a research paper that showed that there's a fungus that makes the ketamine. So it can be, I'm blanking on the Latin name of the fungus now, but it's fungi or mushrooms, because psilocybin is the other fungus that is actually, I'm trained in psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy as well, but it's not legal in California yet. It's legal in Oregon, where I got trained. As an aside, the fungus grows ketamine to protect itself from being eaten by worms. So ketamine can be used as an anti-helminthic agent to kill these worms because it's toxic to the worm. And the fungus figured out how to protect itself against these worms that want to eat the fungus, because they all live in the soil.
That's
so
crazy.
Mushrooms are amazing.
MDMA comes from? Is that you said synthesized?
That's also
MDMA is
lab
synthesized,
too.
Yes. And it was synthesized. It was specifically developed for couples therapy, because when couples are fighting, what you want them to get to is a place of empathy and understanding the other person. So MDMA is not considered a psychedelic in the traditional or strict sense. It is considered an empathogen. It improves empathy, and entactogen. It improves connectivity.
Ain't that some shit? Because that's a because I don't know which drug that is, but I think ain't that the ones that like most people may take when they go to raves and shit?
Yeah, that's Molly or ecstasy.
like, yeah.
And again, it's usually not pure MDMA. Club Molly or Club Ecstasy has other contaminants, including caffeine, all kinds of things in it.
Okay.
And it is important to test it because it's nowadays often contaminated with fentanyl.
With fentanyl, yeah.
And dancesafe.org is a nonprofit that you can order testing kits from. So if anyone's thinking of going to a rave and doing unknown pills, I always recommend doing the test kits. At the very least, at the Long Beach Gay Pride, the LGBT Center was actually handing out free test kits for fentanyl.
Oh, okay.
So at the very least, it's good to test it, whether it has fentanyl or not.
Definitely. And APLA here in Long Beach too also offers test kits.
Yeah. So it's really good to use those. And yes, so ravers use that to dance. The psychiatric studies with MDMA have been mainly for people with PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Again, to help them shift their perspective into, I'm not just the victim of the trauma, I also survived it. And I'm stronger for it. It's the both end of it. Yes, it happened. So that's an example. There are other benefits, but it's mainly been studied for post-traumatic stress disorder. And the doses used are optimized, and then it's pure MDMA without any of the contaminants that Club Molly or ecstasy have. And most importantly, it's the mindset and the setting in which they do it.
Which you're doing
it in.
Yeah.
That's the setting, make a big difference.
Okay. Now, if someone is interested in reaching out and seeing if their insurance covers your services, how can someone go about that?
So tjraimd.com is the website.
Go ahead and repeat it.
tjraimd.com.
Okay.
Tom, Jack, Robert, Apple, India, Mary, David.com. The office is not set up to bill insurance.
Oh, okay.
Because of there's myriad problems
I can only
with the
imagine.
healthcare system. Most clinics nowadays are owned by venture capital firms who know how to overbill insurance companies and negotiate rates with insurance companies that are higher than what an individual doctor or therapist like me can negotiate. And then what venture capital firms do is they overbook people with too many patients, so the quality of care suffers. And as an individual provider, I cannot get those same reimbursement rates from insurance. And I also am not able to employ someone full-time to fight with the insurance company.
Okay.
So when I've done work that's outside of my office, that's not private pay, then I worked for agencies that are nonprofits that get public funding and donations, because that's a lot easier than trying to bill insurance. Insurance is a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And venture capital firms are doing to small practices like mine what Amazon did to small shopkeepers. That's what's happening in healthcare in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I think also to highlight that the healthcare system is about sickness rather than wellness.
Yeah.
It makes money by keeping people sick. So if you're going to be this type of therapy is life-changing, is life-altering. And some people are able to get off their meds, if not most people, you know? So that's a huge blow to the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
They would never.
They lose a paying customer. Yes. And that's the dark side of the pharmaceutical industry, is that I used to think they're here because they want to help people heal. No, they're here to have more customers because capitalism demands that, the increasing profit margin.
Yeah.
And so every new drug that comes out is more expensive and requires more medical intervention. Like the GLP-1 medications that, so many people are using them for weight loss. And it's a great boon for people that were stuck and couldn't lose weight.
Yeah.
But they're so expensive. And you need to go to the doctor, get injected. And some doctors aren't, I believe, including the whole person. And also you need to change your diet and exercise now that you've lost the weight to keep it off. But people just keep going back for more and more injections. And the same with psych meds, people stay on psych meds. And psychedelics are a great way to, if not get off your psych meds, possibly reduce them drastically.
Yeah, because you aren't supposed to be on them like your whole life, right? Because the way people talk about it is if it's like once you get on some kind of psych med, it's over for your entire life, for the rest of your life. That's how I feel like people talk about it. Like, oh, I don't want to get on this or have the doctor give me this because whatever.
But that's the fear. And for some people, it does come true. For some people, when they get, so they're, in my experience, this is what happens. Either people get better and they're like, I don't need this anymore, and they stop taking it without consulting their doctor. Those are the worst outcomes. Because abruptly stopping a medicine that affects the brain is never good for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then they become afraid to ever stop it again. Then there are people who will consult with their doctor and go about it in a responsible way. And those people can succeed in getting off the medications. And the thing is, not everyone can, because the medications are not curative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're wearing glasses.
Yeah.
They haven't cured your vision, but they fix your vision. So the medicine is a fix. It's not a cure.
Mm.
People learn how to heal by changing their habits, their lifestyle, their perspectives. And that's where I think psychedelic therapy is at this point considered the leading edge of psychiatric treatment,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people either don't respond to psych meds or don't respond fully, or then they can't come off of them. And psychedelics hold that promise if you can integrate the messages into your day-to-day waking consciousness. It's soul medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Soul medicine.
Is ketamine, is there different, because I hear a lot of like people are scared to take like mushrooms, psilocybin, because there's that history or stigma around like it has a bigger impact or can cause psychoses in people. Is there like the same risks in terms for ketamine?
Yes. So people who are psychotic should not be doing ketamine, because people who are psychotic already are losing touch with reality.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have an experience that deliberately jolts you out of your reality. So it could worsen or precipitate psychosis. It doesn't cause visuals the way that mushrooms or ayahuasca or some of the other psychedelics do, because neurochemically it works differently in the brain. Ketamine works on the NMDA receptor in the brain, and psilocybin, ayahuasca, and a lot of what's called the traditional psychedelics, they work on the serotonin pathway in the brain. So ketamine can actually mix well with psychiatric medications because a lot of them interact with serotonin. Mushrooms and especially ayahuasca can actually be dangerous. Mushrooms are not dangerous combined with psych meds, but psych meds will make them less effective. Ayahuasca can be dangerous because ayahuasca contains an MAO inhibitor. So the visions with mushrooms and with ayahuasca are very intense, and they're fractals, the classic psychedelic imagery. With ketamine, the visuals are more like seeing a dream, but seeing a dream while you're awake. And we give, at the office, we keep the room dark and we give people eye shades to wear that put their eyes in total darkness behind foam padding. So even if they open their eyes, they stay in total darkness. Yeah. And that's because ketamine can be disorienting and it can cause nystagmus, which is your eyes go all over the place, which can cause dizziness. So most psychedelics journeys are done in the dark, and ketamine's no exception. And so, yes, the risk of psychosis is there. When someone's basic ego structure or their psyche gets fragmented and dissolved, then they need to rebuild that ego structure, which is tricky if people already have psychosis.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I know like for like psilocybin, they don't recommend people who are like obviously in psychoses or bipolar or kind of like in that kind of range. Yeah.
So bipolar is interesting. Ketamine has been studied for treating the depressed phase of bipolar, because the worry that people had was it might make people manic, and it still might, because I don't think we have enough studies to say that it doesn't. And also, people who are bipolar can have very severe, very disabling depression. So researchers and clinicians in the field are not wanting to withhold treatment that can be life-saving if someone's suicidally depressed just because they have bipolar, because then you can treat them with mood stabilizer to control the mania.
Mania.
I mean, but of course, you don't want to make people manic. You want to do your best not to have that happen.
Of course, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask you something that's kind of like not serious, but still on the same wavelength of psychedelics. Have you ever heard of people taking DMT and then seeing The Matrix?
Yes.
What do you know about that?
I've seen The Matrix.
Have you?
Yes.
What's going on? Is it really
It's
the numbers?
just how I understood it. No, I could see electromagnetic waves.
You like look through a laser or something?
They looked like laser beams, and they were intersecting, and they were all over. And literally, I could see them. And so, that was the second time I did ayahuasca, and it was not done. It was not done recreationally. It was done with a shaman that got the medicine from like sacred sites in Peru. Like it was all done with intention, and I did it for my own healing many, many years ago. And so the seeing the matrix, I mean, that's what I called it, seeing the matrix. But in how we understand now, the term for that is called synesthesia, which is, well, I guess it's not technically synesthesia. Synesthesia is when I can smell colors. That's the technical definition of synesthesia. So this is more of a visual phenomena where I literally could see electromagnetic waves, and I felt like I was in this web. Like it looked like a spider web almost.
Kind of like a histogram, or have you seen like, I don't know, like when you see like in photo editing software, and there's like all those like lines and shapes that don't make any sense.
Yes, that's how it looked.
So was that real? And do the people over there, they see the same? No? Is it like your own interpretation?
My sitters didn't see it. It wasn't even an interpretation. I could literally see it.
I mean, like, what I'm
That's you
saying
trying to
is,
gaslight
I
him.
know.
not interpretation, but I mean, is what you're seeing informed by what you already know about?
I had no idea I was going to see electromagnetic waves. No one had told me they had seen The Matrix before I did my ayahuasca journey. My brain was so naive. I had never smoked marijuana.
Oh, shit.
Ayahuasca, so I jumped off the deep.
Oh, damn.
I had been
They're going to the
really
big leagues.
intoxicated on alcohol once in my entire life, and I was 44 years old when I did ayahuasca, and so it caught me by surprise.
Was it scary?
It was scary.
Did you like have like a new perspective or learn anything from that?
I learned a lot from my 2 ayahuasca journeys. I wouldn't be a psychedelic therapist now if I hadn't had that experience.
Okay.
It was life-changing. And it wasn't just the experience. It took me a long, long, long time to integrate the grandmother goddess messages into my body, because ayahuasca is called the grandmother medicine.
Okay.
I think of her as the grandmother goddess. She's the grandmother of all goddesses. Like it's incredibly potent medicine. And it was really scary. And after the experience, I remember telling my therapist, I don't wish that on my worst enemies, and I want it for all my dearest friends.
At the same time, right.
That's cool. So how long does that last?
6 to 8 hours.
What?
At least.
Of the
At
intenseness?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Or just like nonstop, like.
It's a journey.
Do you see
It's a long,
It's a long
journey.
Do you see spirits? Do you see entities that are not physically there?
Yes, I did. Not everyone does.
'Cause you
Visuals
gotta-
are very common with ayahuasca, and ayahuasca does not show you that's not already in your psyche.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's a dive into your own unconscious parts of the mind. And it's
Nice.
really jumping off the deep end. Ayahuasca definitely is a dive off the deep end.
So you wouldn't recommend microdosing it on the weekend?
Ayahuasca is not something
but we want to microdose.
recreationally.
So ketamine is the first step before going to something like that. Or what would be a baby step? Weed?
Ketamine. Well, weed is a psychedelic, and so many people use weed recreationally so often that they become desensitized and tolerant to the effects of weed. I will occasionally use weed, and I've also used weed with intention when I want to work something out in my own mind
Okay.
and then journal about it. So weed has psychedelic applications, but it's so used recreationally that I don't use it in clinical practice with my patients as a psychedelic. Ketamine can be a really good psychedelic intro for people because it's so gentle. And ketamine experience can be wonky if people are using heavy amounts of weed. And if people come high to session, I don't give them ketamine.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, if you were already doing like a ketamine therapy, would you even
Want to do weed?
go stronger after that? Or like, do people need to get harder?
Some people think more is better, and that's part of the legacy of capitalism, not just colonialism, that more is equated with better, and more is not always better, not just with psychedelics. And absolutely with psychedelics, more is not always better. There's a Goldilocks zone. Too little, too much, just right.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I go through this whole like ketamine therapy, like I wouldn't imagine that I would need to go to the ayahuasca, right?
They're different medicines, and they show you different parts of the psyche. The best I can describe it is carrots are really good to eat, and overeating carrots can be toxic to your liver and other organs because the body starts to store the beta carotene that carrots are so good for providing the vitamin A. And carrots don't provide the same thing as green leafy vegetables.
There you go. Makes sense.
So different ways of accessing different parts of the brain.
Okay.
I'm not saying one's better than the other. They're different. And ayahuasca is not easy to access. It has become easier to access with the ayahuasca tourism to Peru. And just like every country and every culture, there are shysters and good and bad people in Peru, just like there are good and bad people everywhere. So it needs to be approached with caution, and medical safety is paramount. Because ayahuasca can be medically dangerous. And if someone's in the jungle in the middle of nowhere, it can be difficult to actually access help.
Yeah.
I know of a psychiatrist who got manic on ayahuasca while in Peru and then left the jungle and came back manic on the plane. Like it's just... And of course, I know lots of doctors who have gone to Peru and not come back manic, but you know, it happens.
It happens, yeah.
Dang.
And there are people that, because of their religious affiliations, can provide the medicine here in the US. I also know that there's a certain type of ayahuasca that's grown in Hawaii on the Big Island that's different than the Peruvian ayahuasca. So there are different kinds of ayahuasca. There's even in South America, there's Brazilian, Peruvian, Ecuadorian, I think Colombian as well. A lot of the South American countries have their own different traditions. There's a great movie with Daniel Craig. I think it's called Queer. And it involves this queer man's quest for an ayahuasca experience in South America.
Really?
And he's an expatriate living in Mexico at the time. Very interesting movie.
That does sound good.
I think I see it on
Weird.
Tubi.
Oh, really?
I think so.
That's the one I got. So, and other random off questions. This is like not, I don't even want this in the rest of it, but have you seen other things? What else do you know about outside of this world? Because I feel like you know other things. Have you seen aliens? Have you seen ghosts? Have you seen spirits? Have you seen demons? Have you seen, what do you know?
All of that.
Have you seen a shadow person?
Yes, and I've seen my own shadow self. I've seen both my shadow self and my golden self, the part of me that I'm proud of and want to display, and the part of me that I'm ashamed of and want to hide. Ayahuasca is a deep awareness of one's own psyche. And on ayahuasca, I know I've traveled the universe, at least the way I perceive the universe, because one of the landmarks I know in the universe is the rings of Saturn. And I clearly remember passing it and going way beyond it. And it was really cold out there.
Sure.
And I totally felt like spirit and consciousness. And then I was so happy to return to my human body. So going back to the soul body connection, I so value it because and this is also part of my lineage. Even though I didn't grow up Hindu, there's a belief in my culture, and Hinduism's the granddaddy of a lot of Indian religions.
Mhm.
And so there's a belief in reincarnation is that I could have been born an ant and had a life cycle that lasts days or weeks. I could be crushed by someone walking on me. And life is precious, and human life is very precious because we're one of the oldest living creatures in the animal kingdom. If you look at, the California redwoods, they live for thousands of years, but in the animal kingdom, we live a really long time. And we have so much dominance on this planet. We change our environment to suit ourselves. We're so brilliant and so destructive.
Say that again.
That's the definition of eternity, the serpent eating its tail, Ouroboros. We're consuming our own kind.
You're not feeling that?
I can't even fathom.
Well, TJ, you have any other insights for us?
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be part of the Long Beach community.
I'm happy that you are part of the Long Beach community too. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us all your lovely tidbits and insights and knowledges. We would love to have you back at some point and pick your brain some more.
Happy to be back.
Well, thank you again. From all of us here, another round of applause for our very special guest, TJ. I'd like to thank myself, Nino, Dr. Mikey, and Christoph. From all of us here at the Queer LBC, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. Good night.
Good night, Long Beach.
Sleep tight.
Yay, that was a good one.
That was good, too.